Today in Higher Learning, with Congress still considering a major financial services reform bill, one of the issues being discussed is extending bankruptcy protection to some student loans. Now, if you run up huge credit card bills on frivolous things, which many of us have done, that debt can be erased by a bankruptcy court judge. But if you borrow money for your education and can't afford the loan repayments in a tough job market that we're in now, then there's no bankruptcy protection. Here to talk to us about this issue is Peter Kerwin from the Rhode Island Higher Education Assistance Authority. Good morning, Peter. Thanks.
Good morning, Ben.
That just kind of boggles the mind when you think about it, that you can go out and spend frivolously and somehow kind of get out of it, but if you borrow money as a student, you know, there's really no protection. So what are we doing to hopefully extend this?
You know, it's a tough issue for Congress, because keep in mind, we've just been through this whole period of disruptions in the housing market, and you've seen people who kind of did the right thing, who got mortgages for houses they could afford, looking at neighbors who got in over their head with crazy mortgages to houses that were way out of their price range, and you've got Congress talking about bailing them out.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people are like, well, where's my bailout? Similar issue here.
I went by the guidelines. I did what was right.
I did things the right way. Yeah. So, I mean, you're walking a fine line between, you know, protecting people from predatory lending practices and bailing people out of their own bad decisions. And so what Congress is trying to do in walking that line on the student debt issue is to say, well, let's extend consumer debt protection to bankruptcy protection to those private student loans. Now, federal loans are paid for, they're backed by the federal government. So if you're on the hook for those loans, you still have to pay it back.
Okay.
But with the private loans, the idea is that they've become a little more popular in the last few years. They're about 15% of the market now. They don't have a lot of good consumer protections. They can be very expensive, kind of like credit card debt. So the thought is, let's extend that bankruptcy protection to that particular area of loan.
So is this the main reason they're going for private loans now as opposed to federal?
It is. And also, I mean, let's face it, I mean, the problem is with federal loans have a lot of consumer protections. They're a good idea for students to do. You know, they have all sorts of potential forgiveness provisions. They've got repayment plans that are a lot more flexible. The private loans don't have that. You know, sometimes you get sucked into a private loan and you find out that it's going to go up, the rates are going to go up just like credit cards do. So the idea is, let's extend those protections, go after the banks from you know, having these onerous terms on loans, and really provide some serious protection to students.
Now, there's also some improvements to Pell grants that are supposed to be in some of these
That's
bills?
working. I mean, they're in the process for that, although the money, you know, they've tried to extend it for a long time. The problem is that the money, the savings they thought that they were going to get from transferring to the new federal loan system is taking a little more time. So, I mean, the big thing, though, to remember is max out on your federal loans. I mean, that's what we're telling students all the time, you know, because those loans have the best protections, they're safer, and it's a better way for you to borrow money. It's a little tough for some students because the FAFSA form is hard to fill out. You need to fill that out for those loans, but it's the way to go.
Peter, important information as always. Wave to your daughter. You said you wanted to give her a shout out.
Catherine and Haley, hope all is well.
For more information on student loans, just head over to foxprovidence.com. Patrick?